What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back again with another The Family Chantel video. But hey, before we get into it, let's start off by giving a big massive shout out to every single person that is a member of the channel and every single person that is a member of Patreon, where you can find our unrestricted content, the content that we can never upload onto YouTube. And of course, that link is down below in the description. But with that being said, let's get into this week's episode.
Things have been so tense with Pedro, but I want to be proactive on making our marriage better. I think that our problem is definitely communication because we hardly communicate. Just to get back to Pedro so that we can work on our issues, I don't want to let it sit. I miss him and I am excited to see him. I just want to get the same reaction from him.
You know, there's this thing called worth, self-worth. And you know, the more and more I watch some of these TV shows, and even the more and more I see some couples just obviously in real life, I sit there and I say to myself sometimes, does that woman know her worth? Does that man know his worth? Because I keep seeing people in relationships where, well, it's never balanced. There's always one doing more for the other, and there's always one who's moaning more than the other. There's always something that just doesn't make it balanced. And I sit there and I say to myself, why are you wasting your time with someone who doesn't give you as much as you give them? Someone that gives you arguably 25% of who they are, whilst you're giving them 75% of who you are. Maybe your relationship is here because you give that 75% and they give that little. When in reality, both should be given 100%, so therefore the relationship is as strong as possible. Chantel is a very, very extremely beautiful woman. And she's a woman who I would have thought personally would have carried herself with a certain level of self-worth. I mean, especially when you look at her mother. Her mother is someone that would definitely represent that. Her mother's the kind of person that would instill in her children that, hey, always know that you're worth X, Y, Z. So to be honest with you, I'm actually really fed up with the fact that Chantel is still with Pedro. Now, I'm not saying Chantel is a saint is the saint per se in the relationship. But the matter of fact is, though, my biggest issue is that I feel like she struggles to understand what her worth is. And her worth, it's not with Pedro. Pedro is the kind of person that will take you for granted no matter who you are, no matter what you bring to the table, no matter how you look. Because you see, Pedro is all about Pedro. But let's continue.
The relationship with my brother is very difficult because my brother doesn't hug me, anything, never hurt me with the situation. El gran problema de la botella.
You see, maybe I'm saying this coming from a man's perspective. Maybe I'm saying this maybe coming from a very masculine perspective. Maybe I'm saying this from a perspective where I know that I like to make sure that I'm never in a situation where I'm in harm's way or anyone that I love is in harm's way, and I'm always in a situation where it has to be civil, and if it's not civil, well, then I'm just not going to be there. So here's the thing though, I know that when it comes to Pedro's sister and it comes to Chantel, I know obviously these two have issues, you know? But one thing that I'm not a fan of is how Pedro is allowing this to marinate. How is allowing this to continue? Obviously, we know that the families do not get along. We've known that for a very long time. Especially a lot of you people who have been watching these guys since season 1. But the matter of fact is, though, I don't like the fact that Pedro just kind of allows her to sit there and he feels like as if it's okay for him to also be mad. Because here's the thing, is he ever going to abandon his family? Absolutely not. Is his family always going to be in his life and he's always going to communicate with them? Absolutely. So because he's going to do that, and given the fact that he's always going to stay with Chantel, given the fact that he believes that maybe she's never going to leave him, even though right now it's reported that maybe they have broken up, but that is here or there. I mean, to be honest, I really hope that they are broken up personally, but it is what it is. I sit and I say to myself, we know how petty his sister has been. We even know how petty maybe even Chantel's been, and even both the families on both sides. But the fact is, though, there is always a common denominator, and that common denominator is Pedro. Because he's the person that's supposed to come in and say, listen, this is my woman, this is my wife, I love her, I want to be with her, and I'm going to treat her exactly how I should be treating her. But at the same time, though, this is my sister. This is my family. I love my mother, I love my sister, I love everyone. You know, they've been there for me since X, Y, Z. And of course, I'm not looking to fall out And of course, I'm not looking to lose that in any one of you. So you all got to find a way to make it work. And if you can't make it work, then that's cool. I'll find a way to make sure that whenever in a situation where things can be like this, because it is actually really sad that he's not wanting to speak to his sister. You know, he's not wanting to make amends, or he's not at least allowing her to say her own piece. Now, the thing is, though, does it really matter what she's got to say? Not necessarily. What matters is that he hears her out and then says, okay, well, despite what you said, this is what we're going to do moving forward to make sure that there's never a physical altercation ever again anyway. You see what I'm saying? He has the power to control it. If he doesn't, then he shouldn't be in the situation. He should leave. You should just leave Chantel and just continue, just leave Chantel and then obviously have words with his sister or whatnot. I mean, end of the day, for me personally, this guy's a clown. He shouldn't even be with Chantel anyway, you know what I mean? But yeah, Pedro is one of those people where he'll happily sit back, let everyone else argue, and then when shit hits the fan, he'll happily sit there and start ignoring people because he didn't like the way they behaved, even though he could have done some kind of cry control. I'm not saying he didn't do that, but what I'm saying is that he could have done a whole better freaking job. But that's just my opinion. My perspective, yeah, but let's get into it.
Yo tenía mis razones para comportarme así, pero también yo quisiera volver a decirle, oye, excúsame, de verdad que sí, tal vez yo actué muy mal. Yo he llamado a Pedro muchas veces, pero él no devuelve mi llamada. Quiero que él y yo estemos bien. Yo amo a mi hermano, a pesar de todo.
The fact that his sister even wants to apologize, the fact that she's even considering that she may be wrong is fantastic. Because we know that she's not the kind of person who finds it very easy to want to apologize, to want to admit that she's in the wrong. But at the end of the day, she's trying to be the bigger person for the sake of her relationship with her brother. And that's something that he has to look at and cherish. Point blank, period. Again, listen, I could sit here and I can flip the script. I could be putting the blame on the ladies. I could be doing that. But the matter of fact is that I come from a generation where the man is meant to step in and he's supposed to, you know, crowd control. He's supposed to hear everyone out, and then he's supposed to come up with the compromise. And to be fair with you, from the generation that I come from, a man has the ability to do that, and a woman generally would have the ability to then respect and be like, you know what, I like the fact that my big bro decided to step in. I like the fact that my man decided to step in, because if he didn't, I could have ended up doing this, or things could end up being this way. I don't know about today's generations. You know what I mean? I only know about mine. Well, the last of it, the lingering bits of it, because even people from my own generation be acting like fools, to be honest with you. You know, and I bet, and to be fair, based on their age, that's kind of low key the same generation, isn't it? I guess I just don't forget my roots.
Ay,
Ay, dime.
qué raro que respondiste mi llamada.
Mari me dijo a mí que tú no fuiste con Alejandro. Esta fue la única razón que me dio ganas de cortar llamada, porque si no, no la había cogido.
Ok. Sí, nosotros terminamos. Sí.
Él te terminó, tú lo terminaste. ¿Cómo fue?
Yo estaba cansada de que él quisiera controlar tanto mi teléfono, de que yo no pueda hablar con mis amigas, y yo le di chance a él para que cambiara eso, y él no lo hizo. Y yo tengo derecho a cansarme de una situación.
Ah, de que te casaste. Después que mami gastó salida, después iba a tener salida, al final te casaste. Ok, entonces al final te diste cuenta, viste los ojos, wow.
Era imposible hacer que mi familia aceptara a Alejandro. Yo recibí mucha presión familiar, mucha presión de mi mamá, la situación con mi hermano, para que yo terminara con Alejandro. Así que yo puedo pensar que en gran parte la separación será del ofendido.
No, tú sabes que tenés problemas, que te la boca,
Yo no soy ninguna loca. O sea, tu esposa siempre está hablando disparate de mí.
If you don't want to be with my mom and sister here, we can order on top. They can leave it here downstairs at the bottom.
We could get a crate for them, set it right there in the corner.
Quería que reaccionara.
Listen, let's talk about Alejandro, the ex-boyfriend. I mean, listen, here's the thing. We have choices. I mean, listen, Pedro could sit there and be upset with his sister for always going back to Alejandro and, you know, always allowing things to happen with him. He could be upset about that. I mean, I would be upset about it. Don't get it twisted. But the matter of fact is, though, if you're my sister and I know that you need a little bit of guidance, and I know that sometimes telling you something isn't going to register because, well, that's just how you be. Well, end of the day, once I have the opportunity to actually tell you something that you're going to register, I will be there to do that. I mean, what's family supposed to be for? Isn't family supposed to be about love, care, and support, and so many other things? You know, and so what? Because obviously Alejandro, this guy is in his feelings now. The thing that he's got to understand here is that what matters most is that she's your sister, and she's still here, and she's finally left him, even if it's not permanently, but understand that this is the chance that you have to, you know, to try and take some form of control and try and support her and try and help her understand that if she goes back, it's not going to be a good idea in whichever way you think is the best way to communicate with her. But this is the thing, that communication is very, very poor within Pedro in general as a human being, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, I know that, his sister probably may not listen to him. Chantel may not even listen to him, but the fact is though, like I said before, generational, where I'm from, if you know how to really conduct yourself and you know how to really put your foot down, you'll be hurt. You know what I mean? Respectfully. This guy here just lacks any of that because he's too much of probably a mama's boy, to be honest with you, He's expecting, listen, all I know is this guy's been way too sensitive, way too petty, and he needs to be more, what's the word I'm looking for here? I know what I'm looking for. I just can't really say it here. I have to leave. I do apologize, but this is why we do patrons. Because certain things I can say them, and I can only be said in a certain way that YouTube just never allow. But at the end of the day, I hope you get the gist of what I'm trying to tell you here right now. But let's continue anyway with this pathetic excuse of my man. Again, I'm not ignoring the flaws in his sister. I'm not ignoring the flaws in even Alejandro. I'm not ignoring the flaws in Chantel. Don't get it twisted, I'm not. It's just that Pedro has this thing where he feels like, he is Pedro. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, let's continue.
problema con Alejandro también. Y esa es la manera de reaccionar.
You look like a troll, man. I bought a gift for him, but he didn't give the gift. That was very disrespectful and insulting. You don't know anything about me, and you're criticizing me, judging me. What you shout about my mother? I'm gonna fight you.
Ok, tú sabes que al final del día tampoco tú no tenías tampoco la razón. Yo no tengo mi mente ahora mismo en Alejandro. Yo tengo mi mente en este concurso y yo simplemente quiero el apoyo de mi familia.
Obviamente tu apoyo, por un asunto familiar. Amigo, tú no estuvo ahí. ¿Tú te crees que te dije que te quedaron de acuerdo, que encontré paz?
Ese hombre no está desaparecido, ¿ok? Él decidió alejarse de nosotros y fue una decisión de él.
No, pero yo pensé que no se justo.
Yo aprendí a vivir sin él.
¿Cómo te paraste tuyo ahora, ¿viste?
No hay problema. Está bien.
Que me digas eso, que ahora que me apoyame.
Ok, pues no me apoye. Ok, no hay problema, no me apoye. Ya, no pasa nada.
No hay problema, no hay problema.
No hay nada que decir entonces.
Tampoco. Tampoco. Ok.
Okay.
What is the best solution when it comes to your sibling being in a relationship with someone that you don't like? What is the best solution if you are the brother and your sister's going out with someone that you don't like? The solution is quite simple, to be fair with you. It's a risky one, but it's a simple one. Do not get involved. If your sister's in a relationship with someone and if she's in a relationship with someone, the first and foremost, don't get invested in who she's in a relationship with. Rule number one. Okay. Rule number two. If that person that she gets in a relationship with wants to, wants to socialize with you whenever they see you, socialize them. Be cool with them. Rule number three. If your sister comes back and she's complaining about who she's in a relationship with, don't be too invested in what she's saying. Let her say exactly what she wants to say. And then just reassure that, listen, if it doesn't work out, I'll be here for you. If you need anything, I'm here for you. Rule number four. If this guy obviously ends up crossing the line where you feel like you need to step in, well then, at that point, you step in. But you step in a way that says that I'm not trying to disrespect you, sis. I'm trying to just show you and educate you that this guy doesn't value you. He doesn't see your worth. But here's the thing though. Pedro is none of those things. Why? It's very simple. If you look at the way Pedro treats Chantel, it will explain to you why Pedro is the way he is with his sister as well. If Pedro was able to treat Chantel with more respect and show her love in a better way, then he wouldn't even be in this situation with his own sister, because his sister would be able to identify. Look at it this way. There are some girls out here where they end up dating someone that is similar to their father. If their father is someone that's loving and caring, they end up dating someone that's similar to their father. If their father is a complete douchebag, they end up dating a douchebag too, give or take, right? But if they got a brother now, okay, who shows them love, care, and support the way you're supposed to, some females end up dating someone that's similar to their brother. Okay, that is just the way it is. All right? Because obviously that's your male influence growing up. So your male influence is, molded by your role models, which can be your brothers or your fathers, right? Pedro is a poor role model. The reason, I'm not saying this is why she goes with someone like 800 or whatever, but what I'm trying to say is that he's never going to be the brother that is supportive enough, or the brother that's going to be understanding enough, or he's going to be able to actually, try and guide his in the right direction, because, well, he is not a great partner neither. That's all. That's just the way I see it. Okay? There's parallels here. You may agree, you may disagree, but I'd be interested to see what you're going to say in the comment section. But let's continue.
Quiero estar en buenos términos con Pedro. Y para mí, contar con él en mi vida es sumamente importante. Pero basada en la conversación que Pedro y yo tuvimos, me doy cuenta que la relación no mejora y que a él no le importa.
And you never want to allow your sibling to feel as if you're not important, when they want you to be and they need you to be so important. But again, though, Pedro has very poor skills. Yes, I feel like this episode is all against Pedro. What can I say? But let's continue.
Model?
Pageant.
Pageant. For being Miss Dominican Republic. She tried to be the Dominican's beautiful woman.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I love to see melanated people, winning pageants and things like that. Do you think that she is a good representative for the country?
Maybe not.
Her behavior, like the total opposite of a graceful, poised pageant queen.
I told you that my sister been calling me.
Really?
Yeah. I never picked her call. I picked one of her calls the other day. But she not even say sorry. I don't know if she's doing this in the passion because she wants to everybody, forget what she did.
This is the issue. So he tells his wife, wait, are they married yet? He tells Chantel, okay, that his sister wants to do this pageant. Okay, so she can win and represent DR. Fantastic stuff. Chantel's first reaction is, do you think that she should be doing that because of da-da-da-da? You see, this is where Pedro lacks control. He lacks just madness. This is the point when he's meant to say, whoa, hold on a minute. My sister wants to do this. She's going to do it. But I don't really want you to be, but I don't want you to be making any kind of comments about her. You see what I'm saying? This is where he should be putting his foot down, and he should be doing the same thing to his sister. So whenever one of these two ladies try to breathe anything negative about each other, he needs to be like, whoa, hold on a minute. Don't be dissing my sister like that. Yo, don't be insulting my woman like that. But obviously, these are things that should have been done way back. And even if they were, they've clearly fallen out of line. But this is the thing though, this is why we say sometimes when people say, these shows are just scripted, because maybe it's different when it's not off air. Maybe off air there is a level of respect, maybe there is a level of control. Maybe all the controversy that we witness is legit just for the TV. But to be honest with you, regardless if it's for the TV or not, these are real life things that people do go through anyway. So end of the day, if you're in a situation with someone, okay, and that man is not stepping up to put you in your place about how you should be speaking about their family members, or they're not stepping up to how they should be, protecting you against their family members, or that person you shouldn't be with that person. You're wasting your goddamn time. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, if you're going to be with a man, be with a freaking man. Do not be with someone that is literally a wuss. That is the polite way of me saying it. You know what I mean? So yeah, but again, these are things that should be installed at the very beginning. But at the same time though, these are things that sometimes you shouldn't even have to, because hopefully sometimes you can just meet someone and your families just bounce off each other. It's just 1, 2, 3. But hey, Pedro, this guy, and now instead of defending his sister, he's now gone off to kind of elaborate on the fact that he had a phone call with his sister and the phone call didn't go well. So now he's giving Chantel more ammo, more fuel to the fire. Hello? This guy. Anyway, I mean, listen, there is a fine line between you being allowed to express how much your family frustrates you to your partner then being able to say something negative about them too. No. The rule is very simple. I can be open about how I feel about my family, and you can say local here and there, but let's not disrespect, and I can do the same thing for you too, because let's be honest, we're all like that, like where we can moan and say what we want about our family members like it's nothing. But then when someone else does it, we're like, hey, I didn't say you can do it too. You know what I mean? Let's be respectful. Let's be respectful now. It's like, for example, when you get black guys who will be in a relationship with a white girl, and they will allow that white girl to diss black girls. We did. Okay, fair enough. I'm saying I don't really like black girls because but it doesn't mean you can tune in. Are you mad? Vice versa, you know, if a black girl's with a white guy and a white guy's complaining about white girls, and then the black girl goes to say, no, he should be like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? No. Don't be doing that. I'm just letting you know how I feel. Okay, but it doesn't mean you should be, you know, Pedro's that kind of guy who would fully allow you. Nah, man, there's got to be respect levels, you know what I mean? We can all vent, but the person we vent with, I shouldn't even have to explain what I'm talking about. Come on now, man. Let's get into it. I had to use it as an example to really show you, like, you know what I mean? But let's get into it.
Hard to watch. I feel like you've been distant from me lately too, and I don't want us to drift further apart. I want to be able to support you as a wife.
Thanks.
And part of that is you're gonna have to open up to me and communicate with me what's going on inside.
What's going on? Like,
Okay.
nothing.
Pedro has changed since the trip to the DR because he's distant. He doesn't have open dialogue with me anymore. Everything is surface level, if anything at all. I don't know why Pedro doesn't want to talk to his own wife about his feelings, but right now, he doesn't communicate with me. We used
That's because Pedro's a waste man.
to communicate with me. We used to be in sync, and now we're not.
It's against sync. If we're not in sync.
I want you to start opening up to me and telling me everything.
Tell me about what? Like, when
Like I'm your wife.
It's my feelings.
Okay.
You say it's my feelings. If I want to share to you, I can share with you. But if not, say I can. You can support me, that's it.
How can I support you if I don't know how you feel?
Just only be there, and that's it. That's what I need.
Okay.
I don't share my feelings with Chantel because how Chantel doesn't understand what's in my mind. Sometimes, you know, I don't understand that. I listen, but I don't understand what you're coming from. You know, one thing is listen, the thing understand. I can listen, but I understand what you're coming from. Right now, I feel that Chantel, we are two totally different ways to see the world. For me, something black or something white. I don't care whatever happens right now. Okay. You know, it's oh my God. Chantal think that she's supportive, but she's not supportive. Like, Chantal wants me to focus on her entire family. Hey, I'm trying to focus on me and my career right now. Give me time to know the business. Give me time, you know, for me to be comfortable in the spot that I am. But every time it's only about what Chantal wants. If you don't give that to her, she's not gonna be happy. Yeah.
If only he knew what the word balance meant. Listen, I won't lie to you. Listen, if I'm with a woman, of course you want her to be supportive. But if she isn't stressing to a certain degree about how I'm not spending enough time with her, well then there's a problem. Because to be fair, women generally will want your attention. You know, women can be supportive and still want your attention at the same time. It's called balance. Obviously, he just doesn't know how to balance it out. He doesn't know how to balance out of her. Because if she wasn't supportive, then he wouldn't be in this job role. Do you see what I'm saying? He wouldn't be where he's at right now. He probably thinks that she's not supportive because she doesn't do the cleaning stuff that he wants her to do. I don't know. But the matter of the fact is, though, whether or not Chantel is supportive or not, what I'm going to say next is just informative information. To be fair, everything that I say is predominantly just informative, regardless of who we're watching, because, you know, what we watch is just whatever. But the informative part is, in my opinion, a woman can be both supportive and also, I wouldn't say needy. No. A woman can be both supportive, but also still want your attention too. Because women love attention. That's you know what I mean? Like, a lot of women love to be with someone that's always going to make them feel like they have the number one priority over everything. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the more you make a woman feel like that, the more supportive she's going to be to certain things. The fact is, though, he's creating this thing where she's going to start to resent what he does. She's going to want to not enjoy what he does and want him to leave, which is where it becomes toxic to a whole different degree. So if he can balance it out in terms of giving her what she wants, in terms of obviously her always wanting his attention, and him and his work, then it'd be fine. For example, if he went to work and then came home, that's perfect. But going to work and then going out with your friends every single night, pretty much, getting home probably after dinner time, getting home probably when it's bedtime, no one's going to feel important. No one's going to feel loved, even if the roles were reversed. But that's what I'm identifying right now with these two, that he's just someone that just isn't been coming home at all. And that's obviously going to be a problem. Usually people, when they go to work and then they go out for work drinks and then they'll come back home into God knows what time, usually it's because they're avoiding their partner. Yeah.
You know what? Pedro told me that Nicole's participating in a pageant.
Wait a minute. Did you just say what I thought you said?
In a national beauty pageant. I know, it's laughable, right? I think that physically, she has a chance. I can see her beauty even though it's hard because of how ugly she is on the inside. She could have a chance physically, but to think that she could be a good representation of her country after storming into a hotel barefoot, throwing glass bottles, and having the police call it on her. Here, Glammy.
Oh, God.
So as we can see, Chantel is being petty as hell and obviously talking about Nicole behind her back, right? But why? Could have this been prevented maybe to a certain degree? Possibly. How? Well, Pedro had never said anything about his sister. No. If Pedro had put Chantel in her place when she went to criticize his sister at the time when he told her that she was going to be pregnant, maybe this conversation would have been different. Maybe the conversation would have been, so I was having a conversation with Pedro the other day and he told me that Nicole was going to be in a pageant, but I then voiced my opinions and he didn't like it, so he told me basically just to shut it, but respectfully. The conversation would have then been with the mother, would have been like, well, to be fair, you shouldn't really be making comments about someone else's sister, you know what I mean? But because it's you and I, we can laugh about it if we want. We can vent about it because, even though like talking behind people's back isn't nice at all, but the matter of the fact is though, if we're looking at the situation what it is with the dislike on both sides, either way though, the conversation should have an element of where Pedro did put his foot down and tell me not to do. And to be fair, the mum could have been hopefully in that position being like, do you know what? He was right to do that. You know what I mean? And then the conversation could have gone wherever with the mum and Chantel. But obviously, it literally becomes a whole laughing stock conversation. And it's not nice. It's not nice to see someone being laughed at on national TV because they want to go off and do something, that's potentially going to make them happy or whatever. But this is the thing though, some things can be suppressed and some things can be prevented as long as someone's there to put their foot down on boundaries. But clearly boundaries is not a thing. All we get pretty much from Chantel and Pedro is them always complaining and moaning about something. And all we get from Nicole is always complaining and moaning about something. And the reason why there's always complaining and moaning about something is because, well, Pedro hasn't put his foot down, if you ask me. And I guess at the same time, we also get the same thing from the mothers too. Always complaining and moaning about something. But of course, that part, that's not really in Pedro's hands, you know what I mean? But yeah, let's get into it.
How is mi hijo trabajo?
Feels like Pedro works so much all of a sudden, like he's thrown himself into it and that's all he does.
I want you guys to remember, don't neglect quality time. Quality time together.
Okay, I hear you.
Let me spell it out. I mean quality time. You guys have to give me some nietos.
It's none of your business.
What? Do you know who you're talking to?
It's none of your business what I'm doing in quality time with Pedro. It's not her place to know.
Why?
Because this is private.
I show you what me and Daddy do in our private time.
See it.
You want to see it?
No,
It's
I
right
don't
down here.
wanna
I got
see
it on my phone.
It's hard to talk about baby stuff with my mom because I'm not where I expected to be at my age. Pedro and I are mentally not in a loving state. We're not even physically in a capable state of making a baby. Like, we need to start the fire back in the relationship.
And this is what confuses me. The mother obviously has this this persona of knowing your worth. But Chantel seems to have forgotten the idea of knowing your worth. Obviously, Chantel is obviously frustrated, not because the mom's asking the questions. She's frustrated because she knows her and Pedro ain't doing nothing right now, but Pedro is barely home. And to be honest with you, I don't know how Pedro ain't home doing the damn thing. I mean, if Chantel had been my girl. Listen, different conversation, but then again, I'm a man. What can I say? I'm not a boy who's petty and pathetic, but hey, life goes on. That's the difference between a man and a boy. But hey, it is what it is. But here's the thing though. The fact that the mom knows self-worth, you'd have thought that Chantel would have had a stronger stance in her relationship. To be fact, the way Chantel put her foot down right here, right now, in this conversation with her mother is the kind of way that Pedro is supposed to be doing that in general, but not so aggressive, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, though, this is the kind of energy that maybe Chantel now needs to bring back and bring into the relationship with Pedro. To be fair with you, I think it's a very simple thing. She should just say to him, listen, it's make or break. It's got to be done. Because why waste your time with someone? She just said that she's not been in the position where she thought she would be. So that means technically she had planned to hopefully have been starting a family by now. But the fact that she hasn't comes down to one, because obviously she hasn't played her role to make sure that this guy knows his place. And also two, that, well, he obviously isn't playing his place as well. So it does come tick for tack on both ways. It's not just one person's, you know what I mean? So it does go both ways. Life. Ah, man. Well, just frustrating, isn't it? But again, sometimes I kind of wish this is just for TV. Anyway, let's continue. And also, we know how close Chantel is with her mother. So we know that normally if her relationship was going well, she would have happily had this conversation with her mother today. She would have done it like flying colors. But because she's not where she's at, she couldn't. And that's exactly what peed her off, you know? But I like the fact that she identified that mentally, this is not the right time. That is good, which tells me that she at least has brain cells that are still active. You know what I mean? In terms of common sense. But hey, that common sense though now needs to be put into place to know that, hey, I gotta leave this guy.
Really come to the table with, I want to make you happy. I want to fulfill the expectations that you have of a wife. So I've been doing the cooking and doing the cleaning. You know, I put my pride aside to say, I'm going to pick up your dirty drawers and your socks and trying my best every day. But his actions towards me are not changed. Maybe he's, you know, feeling that now that I'm graduated and I'm at a hospital, like he's playing catch up. I don't know what's going on with him. Like there's some disconnect in our communication and it's just gotten worse and more magnified. Like it was kind of there before, but I had the tolerance, but now it's just more magnified. I don't know. Good morning.
Good morning, what you doing?
Making you your 6 eggs. Scrambled.
I don't like scrambled egg, I like boiled eggs.
Since when don't you like scrambled eggs with cheese?
I don't like scrambled with cheese, I like boiled egg. You can boil it.
Scrambled.
Boil it.
They're already like,
Okay.
you don't want these eggs?
I don't like, just boil it.
Okay, I'll get you boiled eggs.
Thanks.
What time do you work?
45 minutes, I have to go.
So, have you noticed anything?
Do you make egg in the morning?
Yeah. And it's a lot cleaner, huh? Your jacket is in one place with your laptop and some more of your items. So you can grab them and go.
Yeah. I've been very repetitive at the time, which I tell like I'm not the only person that can clean, can organize. They do that one thing 3 or 2 times, something you do every day. No. Nothing get done until I tell her to do it. I don't need a maid. I need a partner.
So
You put salt?
I did.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because I don't know that you put salt there.
Yeah, I did.
Put salt there because you don't put it.
I did put it there. If you want more salt, you can put more salt yourself. But I did put salt there.
Woman put salt in the water. In the thing.
Pedro, since when do you talk to me like that?
Woman put salt in the thing. Come on, go ahead.
You think this is funny?
It's not funny. When you want to do whatever effort, you
And she just say, oh, Pinky, that's sweet that you tried to
Yeah,
make me
but-
some scrambled eggs in the morning.
But I
Thank
do
you
it- I
for
do
your
it-
effort.
I do it,
Because guess
I
what?
do it.
I'm trying to speak your love language, okay?
Where's my love? We used to
I'm not trying to be your servant.
I'm
Pedro,
not-
you are so ungrateful.
I'm not ungrateful.
Yeah, you don't know how to say thank you.
Okay, so don't do it. If you want myself, don't do the effort. I can do it by myself.
Okay,
You know how to clean
okay,
it?
finish it.
Okay.
Pedro, you're ungrateful. You don't know how to say thank you.
No, now it's
Unappreciative.
Unappreciative.
Unappreciative. I'm not saying you have to say thank you for every little thing, but
Yeah.
why don't you recognize when someone's doing something nice for you and not be rude to them? I have been studying you like a science project, down to how many eggs that you eat. I've been cleaning your dirty drawers, picking up after you for about 2 weeks, doing everything that a good wife should. Everything that a good wife should. And I haven't seen any change or positive feedback from you. So it has to be something else. So what's going on with you, Pedro? I want the old Pedro back. You haven't been kissing me and you haven't been hugging me.
How did this come from? Like
Because we haven't had sex in months.
3 months.
So why are you doing that?
3 months.
So why? At this point, this is a dry desert, and this is not what our relationship was before. We would make love all the time, and he would, you know, pinky, pinky. He hardly even calls me that now. We were so lovey-dovey before. I don't know what's happened since the DR, but that's when all this behavior began.
Her titties, a lot of things.
I have one thing to say, or to show you, when it comes to Pedro. Just gotta make sure that YouTube isn't looking. If you know, you know. Oh boy, it's gonna go down today on Patreon. I tell you that for sure. Scumbag.
Myself, you know, in my mind. After I go to the yard, I believe that it's time to do something with my life. It's time to grow, you know. It's time to be adult, and it's time to not be lazy. I know feel right now that my relationship with Chantel is 50-50. For 5 years, I would work 2 hours a day in our house. I want to do my percent, you do your percent. I want to be in a relationship, but I want to be with somebody that only think about themselves.
To think Pedro was the one that literally said that he was looking for, he joked that he wanted a maid, like an episode or 2 back. Now he's saying that he doesn't want a maid, he now wants a partner, and he's joking. Like, listen, ladies and gentlemen, please don't be with someone that is so indecisive about what the hell they want and that can never be happy with anything that you do. You know, because at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, based on everything that he has requested from her throughout the season, she has done those things and he has still not given her the respect that she deserves based on actually doing these things that, in theory, she doesn't have to be. And he hasn't even acknowledged them. He hasn't even appreciated them. Nothing. He's just spat on them. And he wants to talk about, all she wants to do is think about herself. What he doesn't understand is that, yes, she's thinking of herself, but she's doing all of these things so you can think of her. She's thinking of herself because you don't think of her. You haven't touched her for 3 freaking months. What do you expect? So of course she's going to be doing these things so she has a benefit. But who doesn't do things to have a benefit? If I'm in a relationship with someone and I'm doing whatever I can to make that person happy, it's because I'm looking to reap the benefits. So yeah, maybe you could flip and say that I'm thinking about myself. But isn't that what life is about? Isn't it about thinking about the best thing you can do for yourself? And if the best thing for yourself is to treat your partner right, so you can reap the rewards, so they can love you more, and the best thing for them is to do something for you, so they can reap the rewards from you and love you more. Like, come on! If we're not thinking about ourselves, then what the hell are we doing? This guy's a clown trying to flip it. Nonetheless, though, man, thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch the rest of you guys on Patreon. And of course, if you're not a member of Patreon already, the link is down below in the description. We are done and we are out. Peace.